Okay, hey everyone. So I've had a lot of questions about my cooking technique. I do a couple of different methods. So what I do is I've been doing like this hot heat char on the outside for certain, so like roasts, lamb, I've done goat, and now I've done duck in the past. So today I'm going to show you my method on doing the grilled duck, slow finish in the oven. So it's a roast duck essentially. The cool thing is we have Welsh Harlequin, and then we also have Cayuga ducks out back. So my wife's going to show you how to process one of those bad boys. This is one of the ones, let's take a look, 10:30. So the day before Halloween, she processed this one. It's only about like 4 pounds of meat, something like that. But it's 4 pounds of absolute deliciousness once we do it right. First thing, just got to get a nice wet marinade. I like to leave it for about 3-4 hours. You could leave it overnight. You could do a vinegar brine with it too. For this one, I'm not going to do the vinegar brine. I don't have the time for that. And it's really kind of unnecessary. Just quickly going to wash out since I was touching that raw bird right there. So as of now, this bird has been sitting out for, gosh, maybe about 5 hours so that it can get closer to room temperature. The marinade is going to permeate into the meat nicely. That's why I'm using some lemon juice first thing. Feel free to be kind of generous with it. I would say maybe like a half a cup. I usually just eyeball things. That's just how I roll. But I would say it's about a half a cup of lemon juice that I'm doing. The purpose of this isn't even for the seasoning. It's meat tenderizing. So we're going to soften up that duck. Depending on the age of the bird, really depends on or affects how tender it's going to be. So slosh that lemon juice around a little bit. Next one, soy sauce. This is going to be our sodium, so our salty factor. I actually don't add any salt into the marinade, and that's specifically because of the soy sauce. Soy sauce I did a little bit less, about 1/4 of a cup. Moving on, just minced garlic is next. I love garlic, so I'm going to use probably another 1/4 of a cup of this stuff. Just dump it right in the bag. Now, those are all the wet ingredients, so what I like to do is not quite fully close the bag, just kind of mostly, and slosh it around a little just to get an exterior coating on the whole bird. Last thing, and this is kind of the secret sauce, cumin. So a lot of people know that cumin is one of the staples when you're making like a homemade chili, things like that. It is a wonderful accent when you're adding it to any meat. It just creates this hearty, robust flavor. Soups too, surprisingly. Cumin is wonderful. So I probably add maybe like 2 to 3 tablespoons of the cumin in there. So now we're going to seal up our freezer gallon bag. Then we just roll that marinade around. Get everything sloshed in there. Now my wife, she trimmed off the wings a little bit ago and the neck. It's not really necessary to do that. It really depends. We're going to cook up the neck for the dog later. But what I like, when you have those like extremities, especially the neck removed, this marinade is able to permeate down into the interior of the bird. So with 3-4 hours of that, we'll be good to go. And next step, I'll show you on the grill. Okay, so we have our grilling marinade going that we're going to be basting the duck with while we're out there. Melting the butter right now. As it's melting, I'm going to go ahead and just start pulling off these sprigs of rosemary. So essentially, I just used 2 shoots of the rosemary. It is extremely fragrant though. So this gives us a nice floral flavor and scent to it. Really pairs nicely actually with the cumin, surprisingly. Kind of tones down the earthiness of the cumin. Okay. Rosemary's in. Now the key here is we want to melt the butter, not burn it. So I've only been doing like a medium heat right now. I don't want to see any brown butter. I want this actually really just barely melted because as we baste the duck with it is oil based. So as we put it onto the baste of the duck out there on the grill, it's gonna drip down into the flames. The flames are gonna catch onto the butter and just kind of ignite the whole thing. You'll see out there. It's gonna be a big duck fireball, which is pretty cool. Which we want that hot heat, but we do not want to burn any of these spices off. That's when you get like that char flavor, not the tasty one, the burnt one. Okay, so let's start adding a little bit of our garlic here. This one, I'm using granulated garlic. We use the minced garlic in the wet marinade that we used in the bag earlier. I don't like using the minced garlic in this rub that we use on the duck directly on the grill. The main reason being is those garlic granules. These ones kind of blend nicely into the butter, whereas the minced garlic, those are actual chunks of garlic. You're going to see them slipping kind of into some of the cracks and crevices, burning. It will be like a little char piece on there. So let's just add a little bit of our Tonys. So for the garlic powder and for the Tonys in this mix, I would say it's about 1/8 of a cup of the garlic powder, and then maybe 2 tablespoons of the Tony seasoning mix. So you can either use the one or make your own mix. Is melted enough to my liking. As I was kind of doing the smell test here, you get some of that fragrance of the rosemary, but I'm not getting the hints of cumin, so I'm going to add a little bit more just because I love this stuff, and it really makes a world of difference on the outside of your duck. Okay, so that is a beautiful marinade that we're going to rub all over that duck outside on the grill. So let's go grill. To our grill moment right now. So we're gonna take the duck out of the bag. Gotta pay homage to the founders of the feast out there, the brothers and sisters. It's only the brothers that we eat though. The sisters, they give us some nice tasty eggs. Okay, so as we can see, our duck nicely marinated. My wife prepped these ducks, as I mentioned. So if she missed any bits of feathers that are still kind of embedded onto the carcass, not a big deal. We're doing this hot blaze on the outside. Okay. Looks good. So we are going to start with the breast side down, directly in the center, and immediately, trying to avoid contact, but we want to get some of this basted on there, because that's what's going to catch. There it goes. All right, we've got the whole outside nicely basted right there, which is exactly, let's check out our color. Beautiful. Okay. If you could see that. Okay, now we're gonna try to get our duck up on the side a little bit. So a lot of the times I even cook it while balancing it. Now we're at the point where the bird has warmed up quite a bit. So I am gonna chance a little more of the heat here. The key is we wanna get the flavor totally sealed on the inside. In order to do that, we need the hot sear to give a nice crust on the outside. There we go. Flames are starting to kiss it now. Okay. I'm gonna give it one more big flip and it's probably gonna light up. There we go. Now you see how it's already forming that nice hard crust on this side? We do not want anything more than that. So right here on this backside, I do not want that on direct heat anymore. I do want some of the marinade just because it's delicious. Okay. That's essentially the amount of blaze that we want right there. Any higher than that, you're gonna char the entire outside of the bird. But with this level of heat, we're gonna get a nice crusting all over it like this. So inside I have the oven set to 230 degrees. I'll probably kick it up to 250 once we get in there. I'm gonna put this in for at least 2 to 3 hours. Check it as I go. 165 is the internal temp that we're gonna be looking for. Of course, I got a meat thermometer to check that out. So we'll monitor as we go. Okay, so we've been going in the oven for about 1 hour and 20 minutes right now. I think my duck weighed a little bit less, maybe 3.5 pounds. So it seems like it's cooking pretty nicely. Every 30 minutes, I've been doing just a little bit more of this baste on here, just to make sure it stays nice and moist. Some people will prick the skin in order to release some of that rendered fat underneath and kind of create an additional layer of fat glazing. I prefer the butter mix since we're already doing it. Keep that trapped in within the meat, the fat itself, so then once we let it rest and cut into it, oh, beautiful fat juices come out. So let's just give it a quick temperature check. I've been checking it. Yeah, so towards the surface of the breast, it's pushing 170. If we go internal, we're at just, like right at 165, almost exactly. So that is done. What I'm going to do, simply grab one piece of foil. So resting for this one, if you're pan-searing something, typically you would rest the meat as long as you were cooking it. That's not the case for this kind of thing. Honestly, we probably only want it resting with a loose foil for maybe 6 or 7 minutes. You don't need it to cook anymore. So all this essentially is doing is letting the juices settle in. So we'll check that in 6 minutes. Final product. All right, now for the moment of truth. We're gonna take this over here. Now, this is a Joseph and Joseph cutting board that I actually just got for Christmas. I'm pretty excited about it. It sounds kind of weird, I guess, but the cool thing is it's got these meat grips on it, and then the board itself has a natural slant so that it's gonna collect the juices down here with easy pouring abilities. Reversible, of course, too. So this is my first time using this little cutting board. Let's see how we do. All right, the moment of truth. Okay, we don't have anything bleeding out the top. I love that. So hopefully that means everything's settled in there nicely. Now there's only one effective way to test the cook of your duck, and that is the wife test. So she's actually behind the camera right now. Let's see if she can figure this out. Oh, look at that. Beautiful medium rare. That's what we want. Nice and red.
Okay, let's test it out.
How'd we do?
I think I'm taking that.
Is that a baby making
That's
duck?
mine. That's a baby making duck right there.
Success. Gentlemen, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like if you would like to get some more recipes in the future. And also, please submit any kind of considerations that you might have, like suggestions, feedback, if something you would do different. I love the feedback. I love criticism. All right. Thank you.